Hey, welcome back to Clever Cat class. Are you ready to learn something all new and be a very clever cat? Me too.
Most people know that the butterfly doesn't start out its life with its beautiful wings. They know the life cycle of a butterfly has four very different forms: the egg, larva, pupa, and adult stages. See, a mother butterfly will flutter around to different plants, tasting each one with their feet until she finds a good leaf for her babies. You heard right, a butterfly has the ability to taste with its feet. Smell your shoes. Aren't you glad you don't taste with your feet? Anyway, the butterfly attaches her eggs to the leaves of that tasty plant using a special glue. That glue forms a hard, ridged outer shell that actually protects the eggs. The outer shell is usually lined with a thin coating of wax that helps keep the eggs from drying out before the larvae have completely developed. And some butterflies lay one single egg at a time, while others can lay a couple of hundred eggs in one single batch. When the egg finally hatches, a caterpillar will emerge, and the first thing it does is eat its own shell. It doesn't stop there, though. Caterpillars are plant-eating machines and will eat the plant where it hatched and any other nearby plants that it finds tasty. A few butterfly larvae will actually eat insects like ants, but most of them are herbivores. Either way, caterpillars eat so much in order to grow. Weirdly, the caterpillar's insides grow, but its outsides don't. So when the caterpillar's insides get too big to fit the outer skin, it just splits right open and the outer covering disappears. Most caterpillar will actually shed their skin 5 different times, and when the caterpillar senses it's ready to shed its skin for the last time, it will look for a suitable leaf or twig to attach to, and when that last layer of skin sheds, a hard casing called a chrysalis will be revealed. The caterpillar will live inside that chrysalis for 10 to 15 days as its body goes through an amazing metamorphosis, which literally means changing shape. The caterpillar is definitely doing that inside the chrysalis. The caterpillar, or pupa, is growing 6 legs, a proboscis, an antenna, and wings. Once all these parts are ready for the world, the chrysalis bursts open and the butterfly's final form is revealed to the world. There are roughly 24,000 different kinds of butterflies, and they range in size from an eighth of an inch to almost 12 inches across. So it's hard to predict what's going to come out of any chrysalis unless you saw what went in or are very, very familiar with the caterpillar's preferred foods. See, some butterflies will only lay their eggs on one specific type of plant, and that makes identification of what busy changing shape deals going on inside the chrysalis easier, but lots of other butterflies aren't that picky, so you have to wait and see what's going to come out. Once a butterfly finally does burst out of its chrysalis, it's going to spend a few hours sitting on the leaves waiting for its wings to dry out and fill with enough blood to fly properly. They're also waiting for the temperature to be warm enough for flight. The butterfly doesn't want to sit around and dry out too much, though. In fact, the butterfly has a special exoskeleton, or skeleton on the outside of its body, that helps shield the butterfly's soft parts and keep the water inside so the butterfly doesn't completely dry out. Of course, butterflies also have those 4 wings we're all so familiar with. You know, the ones that often have bright colors made from unique patterns of tiny scales. Oh yeah, butterflies are scaled. A really big surprise about butterflies is that their wings are actually clear. No matter how pretty the colors you see might be, the wing itself is totally clear. Those colors are patterns made by tiny scales that cover the wing and reflect light, sort of like a bunch of prisms, but a really well-planned cluster of prisms. Maybe those clear wings are actually the real reason butterflies can only see the colors red, green, and yellow. Don't worry, it has compensations though. Their eyes are made of about 6,000 lenses that let them see ultraviolet light, which neither one of us can do. Butterflies stay in their adult stage, that one we're all so familiar with, for between 1 week and 1 year, though females tend to live a little longer than the males of the same species. A week to a year is really all the time a butterfly has to accomplish everything it wants to do with its life. Butterflies can fly up to 12 miles per hour, and they put this speed to really good use, fluttering from flower to feed on the nectar, though some also consume tree sap or fruit juices if they can get the chance. Some butterflies, like the skippers with their backward-looking antennae, are faster and can fly up to 37 miles per hour, giving them an edge on getting all their tasks accomplished in the time that they have available. When a butterfly does find a tasty treat, it soaks it up with a long, tube-like tongue called a proboscis. Now, the proboscis acts like a sponge and lets the butterfly soak up their food instead of sipping it, like most people seem to think. Some male butterflies drink from mud puddles. Puddling lets the butterfly extract minerals that they need to survive since nectar and fruit juices are really mineral poor. If you watch a mud puddle, you actually might be able to see a whole group of butterflies, called a flutter, gather to suck up as much salt and minerals as they can. People have termed these muddle puddle flutters puddle clubs. Now, if you can't find a handy mud puddle, no worries. Butterflies can be found nearly everywhere, from forest to grasslands to your own backyard. Best of all, nearly all butterflies are active during the day. This gives you a better shot at spotting one. Just keep your eye peeled for their awesome insects and you're sure to spot something. Most likely you're going to see the cabbage white since it's the most common butterfly in the United States, but you might also spot a brightly colored blue, copper, or hair streak. They're particularly cool with false heads with eye spots and small tails that look like antennae to trick predators. More rarely, you might search out a meadow mark. They're usually black, orange, and blue, and they have these really cool metallic spots on their wings. And if you're really lucky and you're searching, you might see a giant swallowtail butterfly. You might mistake this one for a real bird since it can grow between 4 and 7 inches and has a long tail on their hind wings that make people think of a swallow. If you do see one, look carefully though, because it could be a bird-winged butterfly who actually has large angular wings that look like a real bird, and it even flies in a way that's really similar to the way a bird does. Lots of people get to spot migratory butterflies, and yes, some butterflies like the painted lady, American lady, red admiral, question mark, clouded skipper, or even mourning cloak take some of their valuable time to migrate from one place to another. Most butterflies don't migrate all that far from where they were born, but the monarch is an exception. It sure does like to travel. It can go as much as 3,000 miles from where it was born and back again just to lay eggs so that the next generation of monarchs can start the traveling cycle all over again.
Thank you so much for learning with me today. We're really getting quite clever, aren't we? Now it's time for you to check your schedule, and I will see you in your next class.